When men put on body fat, that is the first place to go on and the last place to come off. And one of the biggest areas for that, you mentioned that I don't have one, but I mean, as ridiculous as this is going to sound, when I start to see a little bit of fat on my body, it's right there. And it's because that is the absolute first place to go on. The shamefulness of how your body does this and what it does to us is that it kinda works from this top-down approach. Like, you'll lose fat first from here, and then it kinda goes down, and the last place is here, so it works in this top-down approach. Well, by the time you get all the way down there, you've lost the fat in your face, you've lost the fat in your neck, so, like, I sometimes I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, "Man, you're gaunt," and I hate the way that, my face gets sort of caved in, but it's sometimes the price that you pay in terms of maintaining a lean physique, especially naturally, because that's how your body starts to lose fat, and especially as you age, you start to lose collagen and skin thickness, so it's even more of a challenge. But this top-down approach is sometimes good because it allows you to start to see, like, the upper row abs underneath the chest, or so when you start to get into better shape, you might have noticed this yourself, you start to see, like, "Okay, my lower chest isn't as saggy anymore, it's actually
Yeah.
starting to take some shape." Well, what's cool is that's actually that little spark of motivation that, like, I wanna keep going.
I can see
So
the
y
top ab.
Right, I can see the top half, like, there it is, I can see I have them. I actually
Yeah.
have them. I got a two-pack, but I have them. Well, you continue down that path. Sometimes you sharpen up the diet a little bit more. Sometimes you take one extra night of, socializing or drinking out of the schedule, and you start to see it, go even lower, and you start to get that second row of abs. Then it becomes a question of how motivated you are to actually just continue, and what level of sacrifice is required or is worth it to you to continue. And that's the caveat that I always say. I mentioned early on, like, is it that important to you? Because I could tell you that at 10, 11, 12% body fat, you're gonna look amazing, and you're gonna look better than 98% of all men. So, whether you have that little tiny, area of fat around your waist, you're still gonna have your abs, you're still gonna have defined shoulders and arms and, some veins popping out in other places. Like, is that good enough so that you experience the health benefits you already would you be there. Aesthetically, you're probably really happy with where you are now compared to where you came from, and you still get to live a life that's not as filled with sacrifice
Yeah.
to get there. And that's the battle people have to wage and ask themselves, how worth it is it to me?